Hi everybody. I just wanted to really speak today and give you an example of the direct campaign that is hitting the workers and people of Barnsley. I think many of you will have heard of ASOS. It's renowned in Barnsley. If you don't do well at school, you'll end up working at ASOS, is what the message is out going to young people. ASOS is about 8 football pitches long, based over in Grimethorpe, Little Houghton. It has about 4,000 employees at maximum peak time, so Christmas, Easter. And the way that these workers are treated are absolutely appalling. If you were to see this day to day out in the real world, you'd be so upset by it. But because it's covered up under a building and people don't really hear about what's going off there, for some reason it seems to be acceptable. Well, since GMB's been campaigning there, it's really not acceptable. And what we have tried to do is get the message and the voices out of these workers that are suffering on a day-to-day basis at the arms of massive corporation owners, CEO owners of Nick Bayton and Transline, which is the agency which brings in majority of the migrant workers into Barnsley. These workers, I'll just give you a couple of examples what they're suffering on a day-to-day basis. So they have a thing called a flex contract. And what that means is you could be scheduled to go into work and start your shift at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. You send your children off to school in the morning, you've arranged childcare or you've got family commitments, so you sort all that out. You make your sandwiches for the day and off you go. You pay public transport and you turn up for your shift. You might get a text message when you're on the bus, or you probably will get a text message when you're on the bus, which will say, we don't need you today, so off you go, and you won't get paid for that day. So then or sometimes what can happen, you can actually turn up and be asked to stay in the canteen, unpaid, for an extra 2 hours until they do need you on shift at 4 o'clock in the day. So that's an example of the flexing up and flexing down of the contracts. Another example is the CCTV surveillance. It is that intrusive that it's like a Big Brother watch. From the minute that you turn up for work and drive onto the car park, you've got static guards which walk around. You get airport security testing, checking when you go in, so you're patted down, you have to pull a randomiser, so you might have to go into a separate room and take off your shoes and socks. This is before you even get in onto your shift. You've then got cameras all over, and the proposals were last year to add an additional 300 CCTV cameras to what they've already got. Okay, and these were going to be put straight across on workers' stations so they could watch constantly when you're picking, packing, doing your job. Now we all know that if these CCTV cameras came into force, that they're not going to use them just to make sure items aren't getting broken. They're going to use them to try and hold the worker to account and sack that worker. We then had a massive issue where workers were not allowed to go to the toilet. They were allowed to go to the toilet, but the pick rate was set so high, if they did go to the toilet, they would then be disciplined. So we've got a situation where we've got an online clothing retailer that doesn't govern in any way, shape or form how many orders that they get. So they could have 1,000 orders one day. Over the Christmas period, I'll give you a direct example, they had 1 million orders in the space of 1 week at a Christmas period. There were cars parked all up and down the street on the highway just before you get in, because they needed that many staff. There's no regulation at all at this site. These workers are paid just above minimum wage and they're expected to pick at the rate or not. If you go off sick, you're going to be disciplined for going off sick. You probably won't last after a couple of sickness leaves. You then have a probationary period that you have to hit. So that probationary period was 6 months. So everybody would come in through Transline, and then after 6 months, if you made it through 6 months, you would then become an XPO logistic contract, which is under the umbrella of the ASOS sign. So it's not all doom and gloom. Since the GMB has been campaigning there, we have seen some massive changes at the ASOS site. We've seen the probationary period reduced through direct campaigning that we've done. Thank you to you as well for helping share that on social media and out in the local community, and national media as well has been really massive in this campaign. We've been able to reduce the probationary period from 6 months down to 3 months, so we halved that. We then put an end to same-day flex. But it doesn't finish there, because that means it's okay to get a text message the day before you go into work. And we all know if you've got childcare commitments or you're sorting something out, a day's notice is simply not enough time for you to sort out your personal life. It's not acceptable, so there's still a long way to go there. We then put a halt onto the 300 CCTV cameras, so we got a stop to that. And then since then we had a commitment in October that they would rise up to the foundation living wage, the real foundation living wage. So we've seen an increase in pay in April as a result of the uplift in the minimum wage, and then we will also see another increase in October. Now, you've probably all heard that there's something I probably missed out in this story, and that's where community, the union, come in. The GMB have been working really hard to gain recognition at the ASOS site, and listening to our members in the workforce, they wanted us to achieve a voluntary recognition agreement. We had meetings with ASOS and XPO Logistics where they were all sheepish, should I say, that's probably the word that I'll give you, and said to us, we'll meet with you in January to discuss. A couple of days before Nick Baton was called to answer at the Human Rights Committee at Parliament, answer questions about breaching his responsibilities looking after the workers at ASOS, he signed a recognition deal with Community, the union. So we've now got a situation where we've got a case in with the TUC dispute, and we are trying our hardest to get recognition at that site, or to get something that is going to benefit the workers at that site. Some people might say, well, they've got a union now, at least that's an achievement. And do you know what? That is an achievement. Because if you look back 2 years ago, ASOS did not recognise that we needed a union, full stop. They've now recognised that they do need a union, but the biggest part of this is that the workforce has recognised that it needs a union, and the workforce has realised that it's okay to say that they want to be in a union, because any time they spoke of it before, they were punished for speaking about it. So we are a long, long way off. Can I just say, people's support within the Barnsley TUC, the GMB Barnsley branch has been absolutely pivotal in this. We've had 10, 20 people turning up on a daily basis to come and join the GMB union, because guess what? ASOS says it's okay now to be in a union. So, we have made massive changes, and my message today really is just one about solidarity and unity. It's about standing together and being united and fighting the battles that we've got. We cannot fight the gig economy if we're all fighting each other internally. We cannot fight the Tories if we're all fighting each other internally. We need to stand together and united and stop tearing each other apart, and we can only do that by standing together. All right, so thank you.